to the Fairmont State MBA podcast, where we explore how graduate education can help you advance your career and expand your leadership potential. I'm Tessa Jolly, and in today's episode, we're discussing how MBA students balance work, life, and academics while pursuing their degrees. Joining us for this episode are current MBA students Ashley, Lizzie, and Kate. Throughout today's conversation, they'll be sharing their experience within the Fairmont State MBA program, discussing what led them to pursue graduate education, how they balance academics and their personal and professional responsibilities, and the ways the program has helped them grow both professionally and personally. So let's get started. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what led you to pursue the MBA?
Sure. I graduated from WVU Tech back when it was in Montgomery and not Beckley. And because I majored in what I essentially call newspaper production, that was right prior to the beginning of the 2008-2009 recession, so I've held all sorts of jobs that had nothing to do with what I majored in. I've worked in the airline industry. I have been a journalist. I have done all sorts of temp work. But for about the past 10 years, I have been working specifically in collegiate housing, mostly with fraternity and sorority houses. And when I decided to pursue a MBA, it was last summer, I was studying for the PMP certificate exam. And after talking with some people who have PMPs, they also encouraged me to get an MBA on top of that. So that's how I started looking at the programs and ended up here.
All right. And what specifically about the Fairmont State's MBA program attracted you to it?
I really liked that it was a year-long program, even though it was full-time, and I just decided that I would prefer to just full send a year in grad school instead of taking 2 years. I also like that it was a lot more cost-efficient that way.
Most definitely. I think it's one of the cheapest that I've found, because I looked into a couple different programs, and a lot of them took 2-3 years plus the heavy cost to it.
Yes, definitely. I looked at a lot of programs. I had considered 5. I applied to 3. And just the amount of time and the cost really sold me on Fairmont. I think so far it has met my expectations of what an MBA program was going to be like especially a full-time one. So
most definitely. I've found that a lot of the readings are more application-based. So it's you go through and you read through and you learn about different companies, which honestly, I haven't looked through a ton of companies until now.
So I'm Lizzie Maurar. I'm obviously a current MBA student here at Fairmont State University. I initially grew up in Grand Ledge, Michigan, but I came to Fairmont to do acrobatics and tumbling. I spent the last 5 years on the acrobatics and tumbling team, and ultimately what led me to pursuing my MBA, I got my undergraduate degree in communications, so this was a kind of new pathway for me. I sadly had an injury during my senior season on the acrobatics and tumbling team, and in order to use my final year of athletic eligibility, I had to get another degree or work on some more classes so I could remain academically eligible. And I heard a lot of great things about the MBA program, and I decided just to go for it, and I'm super happy I did.
Hey, what made you choose Fairmont State's MBA program specifically?
Well, like I said, I'm on the acrobatics and tumbling team here, and I could not imagine doing my sport anywhere else. With the transfer portal and everything, student athletes are allowed to transfer and go get a different master's or go to a different program. I never considered that. The second I was injured, I said I'm coming back, and I'm going to find a master's program that fits me here. I just love Fairmont State, and it's going to be really hard to leave it at some point, but really just because I love Fairmont. That was the whole reason I chose this program.
Most definitely, Fairmont. That's the reason I chose this program too, because I've done doing theater and everything here at Fairmont. Yeah. So I do stage management, assistant stage management, tech.
So fun.
So it's just very nice to be here in the same environment and in the university.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know all the professors here, so it makes it very comforting.
It makes
knowing that you're not
easier.
going to a new environment.
It's not brand new and scary.
Yeah. What has been your experience in the MBA program been so far?
It's been awesome. It's super nice. I do live close to campus and on campus, so it is a 100% online master's program. But I've been able to connect with my professors whenever there has been an issue or a concern. It's easy for me to go to their office, but I think really what makes it a great program is the professors. like I said, you don't get that connection like you're in person, but the professors really strive for that, and they do make it feel like they have a 100% open door policy. So they really do make it feel like you could just walk in like any other in-person class. And I just like the connection of that. So I think that's probably been like my favorite part of the experience so far.
There's definitely. So speaking about classes, what has been your favorite or most memorable academic experience in your classes?
I was trying to remember like what the class was called. I never remember what they're called, but it was Dr. Stone's marketing class from last semester. We had to put together a marketing plan for like a business or something. It could have been hypothetical, but I chose the Fairmont State Lead Center because that's where I'm currently a graduate assistant. And my boss had kind of been toying around with some ideas of potentially changing the name, doing some rebranding. And I think my favorite thing was writing like a 20-page marketing report on the reasons why we should be changing it and kind of persuading in a sense. It kind of brought me back to my communications days because I had to communicate ideas in that sense. But Dr. Stone did a really great job at setting that up, and it was a really, really fun assignment.
I enjoy most of his classes. They're all very good.
Yes.
Like,
It's so fun.
just the way they're ordered, set up, and it's like
Yes.
kind of relaxed too, because like
Yes.
everything's open for you. So if you want to go ahead and do stuff, it's there for you.
And I think that's something that's like a benefit of the MBA program. Obviously, not every course or every professor is going to allow you to work ahead like that, but like you kind of get into a schedule and a rhythm, and you have the same professors a few times, so you kind of get to know how they are and what they expect, and it's nice so you're not like jumping all over the place.
Yeah. So, what has been the most challenging part of the program, and how have you handled it?
I've been talking a lot about how it is an online program and how you do still get those connections. I think the most challenging part, though, has been the lack of connection with your peers. We've had a few group assignments, and I'm typically one to love a group assignment, but they've been a little bit difficult because it's all 100% online, and these people have full lives. People are living full lives. There's parents, they're working full-time jobs, they're just trying to extend their knowledge. So I have to be cognizant of that. I'm in a way different position than a lot of my peers. So I think that's probably been the hardest thing is just not being able to connect and see them face to face and then kind of shifting my perspective. Like I love group projects, but they're a little bit more difficult online. But I guess it's really teaching me how to work in an environment that's a little more challenging and how to get the job done even when connection is a little bit more difficult.
Most definitely. And even just like learning how to work on presentations online. I know that's something that I've
Yes.
struggled with last semester. I was like, we have to put on this whole presentation and then
Yes.
we have to like present it. And it was a whole, I was just like, I
Yes.
don't want to do this online. I've always done it in person.
And like, yeah, and that's the thing too, is like I mean, communications undergrad, so like public speaking doesn't really bother me, but I felt myself like more nervous because I hadn't really connected with my group mates. So when we went to record it, I was like, hey, like we've never really talked, but like we're about to do this. So it was
Yeah.
like weird because you'd only communicated over email or text or messages. And then when you get to do the like actual presentation, it's like meeting them for the first time, even though you've been talking to them a bunch. So I think that's been the strangest part.
So, how do you balance graduate school with your work, personal life, or other responsibilities?
Yeah, so I've learned that you need to say no to things sometimes. That was something that was really hard for me. I'm very active on campus. So like I said, I'm a member of our acrobatics and tumbling team, but I'm also the president of our student athlete advisory committee. I'm a campus captain for the Hidden Opponent, which is a mental health awareness group for student athletes on campus. And then I'm also a graduate assistant here in the Lead Center, on top of some other committees and things that I'm doing within the university. Last year it was okay because my course load in undergrad wasn't as intense. But this year, as I'm trying to pile all of this on and the addition of a graduate assistant position, it was really eye-opening to me. I didn't realize how much I'd overworked myself. So I feel like I've just learned, I know it sounds bad, but I've learned to say no to extra things. I know I'm on the right path and getting my master's degree is the like highest priority, because it will make it easier in the long run for me to get jobs. Um, so just really focusing on doing well in my master's program and absorbing all of that, whereas the extracurriculars or the fun things can kind of come after. So prioritizing that and then my athletics as well. So I think that's just been the hardest thing is like balancing it, but like it's also taught me a lot of hard life skills I never would have learned otherwise.
So tell us about yourself, your background, and what led you to pursue an MBA.
Yeah, so I actually played collegiate soccer senior year at Fairmont State, so I'm familiar with it. I was obviously on the women's soccer team. Ended up graduating May of 2025. Um, Decided to pursue my master's and just get right into it without a gap year. The main reason being is because, I mean, it was like, okay, well, I can further pursue my education or I can, um, kind of get straight into working. But looking at how like competitive it is in the business industry,
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure I was as prepared and as educated to have that one up compared to my peers. And I figured like if I could do it without a gap and just get right into it, that'll get me off to a good start. Um, and so, yeah, I decided to pursue my master's mainly for that reason. And then before Fairmont, I also played at other programs. I played Division 1 as well, but loved Fairmont State. Loved the program, the people. I think the people really make the place. So it was a no-brainer. I was already familiar with a lot of the professors too, and I knew them from in
Mhm.
person. So it was an easier transition to studying online when I already knew them.
Most definitely. Like I went in straight into my MBA as well. Like I graduated from Fairmont with my business administration, went straight in because of the job market and everything. Um, no, that's incredible actually. So the next question is what made you choose Fairmont State's MBA program specifically? But you've already kind of gone over like the people made a lot of it. Is there anything else?
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna be fully transparent. The people and the price tag, because I
Hmm.
was looking at other programs, GCU being one of them, and a lot of them are also all online.
Yeah.
So it's not like, where you have to pay like dorming and food and all of this. So, I liked the fact that it was flexible online and versus like the other programs that I was looking at, like much better price point. And that's what made it possible, to be honest. It was the fact that it was a good price point.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I just, I didn't want to put myself into a situation where now I have, like to, which everyone is different, but I wanted to either go straight into the workforce or do something that it wouldn't take too much out of me, where I'd still be able to, pay it off and then go into the workforce at the same level without having to, be held back a little bit
Most
financially.
definitely. And like the way the classes are set up, like I'm able to like work outside of Fairmont. So currently like I'm a graduate assistant, so I do work on campus and I work with a lot of the professors, but like in the evenings I work at the Robinson Grand, I do theater stuff, you know. So it's very flexible in that way.
For sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I live in Arizona, so but this wasn't like a thing that I'm not from here originally.
Yes.
I'm a Jersey girl, but decided to move out west and got a job out here and build a life out here, but the flexibility was awesome for me.
Yes, most definitely. So what has your experience in the MBA program been like so far?
Yeah, so far, no complaints at all. I think that the teachers do a really good job at timing of when assignments are due. And they know
Mhm.
that a lot of the people that are in the program are people that are working full time or may have kids and families and other responsibilities. So they don't make it difficult. A lot of the time, the assignments are due nights at the end of the week. So it gives you all
Mhm.
week to prepare, which is nice. And always giving announcements out so you're up to date with everything. The teachers are a really great resource, even virtually. If you have any questions or any
Mhm.
concerns, you can send them an email, text, and they'd be more than willing to answer whatever questions you have. Which you have the flexibility of being remote, but also that like in a community feel that you still get.
Yeah, most definitely. What has been your favorite class or most memorable academic experience so far in the MBA?
Yeah, so I really like operations management. I think that
Hmm.
just learning about the day to day. And it's been the most challenging class. And I, really like what I'm learning there. And then also I do a lot of in my marketing class at the MBA level. I learn a lot about businesses and do many case studies on that. different top businesses and kind of learning about more of their day-to-day functions and what kind of helped them get to the success that they're at now. And so learning about that in an in-depth level where you can't just like, read a little article, but like it's actually a case study
Yeah.
where they're challenging you to learn more about like that. That's been really helpful for me, especially as someone that works in sales. So I
Mhm.
I work in the insurance industry and like one day would love to open up my own business and learning about kind of uh the things that go into it to have a business run. It's a lot. It's never ending. So definitely very important to learn about the day-to-day operations.
Yeah, I found it more application based than what the undergraduate was, which was really helpful. I know like we have like that final project in operational management, and it's like really learning it about like the operations and everything, the process. No, it's very beneficial, like very. Um, so what has been the most challenging part of the program and how have you handled it?
Yeah, I'd say, well, this is more personal to obviously my location, me being across the country. We're 3 hours ahead of back in the Eastern time zone. So that's definitely something to get used to, but I've done really well. Like, I mean, granted, I don't have sporadically placed assignments where it's just random days throughout the week. A lot of it's due around the same time. So I already have that expectation. So I know I have found my rhythm and finding that rhythm was not difficult and that was
Mhm.
probably the most difficult part. So like it's been very seamless personally for me.
Yeah, it's been pretty manageable for me as well, even just like being in the state. Because I like that like the classes, all the work is due on like the same day, the same time. I think there's a few that like kind of divert from that schedule, but other than that, most of them have been same night. So there's no
Exactly.
surprises.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only ones that divert are probably like the discussions, but even then it's not by much.
Mhm.
It's always towards like the end of the week. So
Yeah.
which is very nice. And yeah, like another thing too is I worried in the beginning, like, am I gonna have a hard time learning remotely, not in the classroom setting? But it actually hasn't been difficult at all.
Mhm.
I think that the teachers do a really good job at um, posting all the content you need and kind of keeping you in the loop and all the assignments that you do. They're complex, but they're pretty straightforward. They're not like anything that I wasn't prepared for, like getting my bachelor's. I mean, you know what you're getting into. So
Yeah. So how do you balance your graduate school with work, personal life, and other responsibilities?
yeah, so I mean, to be quite honest with you, work has really been, it's been difficult.
Yeah.
But it's not really something where like school makes it an additional hassle. From
Mhm.
my experience, like I work in a very high standard remote job that is sales. So a lot of what we do is like your effort is a direct indicator of how much you sell, and how much you sell is a direct indicator of how much you work and how hard you
Mhm.
work. So it all just is full circle. So, at the end of the day, to be honest, like I know it sounds funny, but doing homework sometimes like, dang, like it's a Thursday night. I have so much. I have like all my assignments due at the end of the week, but um, I like to get it done ahead of time so that I can enjoy my weekend still, and not have to worry about like any of that and still have time to get out of the office.
Mhm.
Especially being in Arizona, there's like so much beautiful hikes that you could go on and nature and stuff. So definitely like to get out of the office a little bit. So honestly, if anything, the school side of it has been more therapeutic than anything because it gives me a second to step away. And of course, it's all about getting good grades, but it's not like you learn a lot, and education is always something that nobody could ever take away from you. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, what strategies have helped you stay organized and successful in the program?
Yeah, yeah, just constantly logging in, keeping track of my schedule,
Mhm.
and discussions. You know, you have to be looking at that to make sure you're in the loop. So yeah, I'm constantly logging in to make sure that I'm up to date with everything, and that I'm not missing anything because that's most important, especially being remote. It's not like you're going in class and you have those reminders right in front of you. You have to, log in and hold yourself accountable, for sure. But the strategy is really, it's just, um, besides staying up to date with everything, it's getting everything done on time and not waiting last minute. Because especially being, using tech to access all of that, you want to make sure that if there is anything that's going on, if the Wi-Fi is down at the house, that you're not like freaking out last minute to like get a test on that like
Yeah.
like it's due in an hour and like you should probably be taking an hour and a half to do it. So like you want to make sure that you're prepped for that. But yeah, just staying on top of it, without having to need a teacher that's on you for that,
Yes.
they're your teachers, not your parents. You have to hold yourself accountable.
So, what skills or knowledge have you gained that you feel are making a difference in your career or your professional growth?
Yeah, I think it being remote, it really forces you to that responsibility,
Mhm.
for sure, and staying up to date because it's very easy to fall behind if something happens. Um, but that as well as communication, we do a lot of group projects, so being able to communicate with your group, even if it's virtually, but also like plan out your assignments, who's doing what, making sure that you show up for the group. And another skill too is, I think, the the communication not with just your peers, but also your teachers, and
Mhm.
making sure that if there's anything like that's coming up, to be straightforward with it and honest and open. And something's always going to come up in life, that's unavoidable, god forbid. But they do create a safe space where if something happens that you're able to stay.
Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to thank Ashley, Lizzie, and Kate for taking the time to share their experiences and perspectives as current MBA students at Fairmont State University. We truly appreciate your openness and insight into what the graduate student experience looks like, both inside and outside the classroom. For our listeners today, if this episode sparked your interest, we encourage you to learn more about the Fairmont State's MBA program by visiting the university website or reaching out to our admissions team.